Coming to you live from a Walmart parking lot in the men's restroom, this is Thicc Man Inc.
And we are live here with your host, Tristan Kilgannon, and ESPN featured athlete, Isaiah Ashley. Our view and our reactions to 6 games that went on this past weekend. Comment what you think about our reactions. Comment what you thought about the games. Give us a like on the video. Much appreciated. And starting off, we are going to go over the Browns' disappointing loss to the Titans, a team me and Isaiah were both very high on, and they just blew the game. They lost 43-13 to the Titans. Something most people, I feel like,
not a good show to begin with. Start off by saying the Browns had the most penalties in an NFL game since segregation, so that's impressive. 18. You don't see that too often. Baker Mayfield looked incredibly sloppy. 3 picks. Did not wake up feeling dangerous. The O-line was letting him get pummeled left, right, and center. And the Browns looked the definition of Cleveland.
I mean, if I'm a Browns fan, I'm not necessarily worrying about Baker Mayfield. I think the bigger issues are offensive line. They had their third-string left tackle out there. It's not ever so often you're going to win a football game with your third-string left tackle out there. First string, I believe, got hurt.
The second string kicked someone in the face.
Or kick someone in the face, even worse.
I that action, but that will get the little yellow flag thrown at you.
And this offensive line performance just begs the question, why did they trade Kevin Zeitler to the Giants for Vernon when he was probably their second or first best? I don't know. Joel Bitonio is probably better. But they traded one of their best offensive linemen for an edge rusher. And obviously they need help on the offensive line. So that brings the question, why did they choose to do that? That was, in my opinion, a highly questionable decision.
The Browns were bordering on needing help everywhere. But we're not talking about the Tennessee Titans, a team which everybody in our comment section loved. Derrick Henry showed why he was as high a prospect as he was, went off over 150 yards. Marcus Mariota, despite winning the game, looked incredibly average with a sub 60% completion percentage and really just finding Delaney Walker butt naked open twice in the end zone. But
I mean, if I'm a Titans fan, I'm still not even getting excited by their performance because they played a team that clearly wasn't organizationally ready, an offensive line that wasn't ready. The Browns were all over the place. And with Marcus Mariota, like you said, he looked average. And they got the ball. There was a pick six, so that was 7 of their 40 points.
Okay.
And the two other interceptions, they were both inside the Browns' half of the field. So they didn't have to go very far for a lot of their points at the end of the game.
I mean, I get what you're saying there. It's not a total just average game for them.
And it was a 75-yard pass for a 75-yard screen pass to Derrick Henry, and that was 75 of Marcus Mariota's 248 yards.
Not very impressive. But I'll say this is a banner-worthy achievement for the Tennessee Titans, for their sorry organization. But I'm still high on the Cleveland Browns. They're going to sort this out. They were due to get whooped by the Jets or the Titans early in the year. Obviously not going to be the Jets next week because Sam Darnold's got mono, but what are you going to do?
That's a bummer for good old
Coward.
Arnold, thick and drunky coastal kid. Coward's probably crying in his soup right now.
I don't know how a grown man gets an 8th grader's disease, but maybe Tom Brady's not the only one kissing kids.
With the Titans also, another thing that's concerning about the Titans and their offense is that your top 10 pick in Corey Davis from a couple years ago had 0 catches for 0 yards and was completely healthy. So that's a little concerning for me also when you look at who was producing for their offense. You had an old Delaney Walker was the most significant threat receiving threat besides Derrick Henry's 1 catch for 75 yards.
Trouble in Cleveland and maybe even trouble in Tennessee. But we will leave that and move on to my favorite game this week. The Dallas Cowboys curb stomping the New York Football Giants. Great game.
And I can confirm I may have been crying into a pillow this weekend. I was when I first turned on the game, I saw the Giants stop the Cowboys and then them go on a drive where the Cowboys couldn't stop them at all. They were doing whatever they wanted and they scored a touchdown. I was so happy. And then from that point on, I got more and more depressed as with every series and with every play.
I was
And
laughing and laughing and
And
laughing.
I had gone. I mean, like I said, I'd gone in the game thinking the Giants had a real chance at competing and even beating the Cowboys. But I have to overlooked their poorest secondary. Antonio Hamilton, after Sunday, he shouldn't even be playing in the CFL at this point. And I can't hold anything against DeAndre Baker because he's a rookie, but he was getting fucking toasted by Michael Gallup. I know he had like 2 touchdowns. I think he had 1 or 2 touchdowns caught against him. Either isn't good. Janoris to me seems washed. He was really good 2 years ago when
like
he was an All-Pro.
So
yeah, I mean he's getting up there a little in age. Jabril isn't that good to the point where he can shine in that bad of a secondary.
Once.
Yeah, Antonio Bethea is just Antoine. Antoine Bethea is just old, and this leads to my point. I don't think anything Dak did during the game was special. He simply executed a game plan against awful secondary. Watching that game was like when your opponent in Madden runs a cover 2 every play and you run post the whole game. That's how bad it was. Like they ran the same defense every time. It let them just fucking destroy them up the middle. I was like, you obviously need to run a different coverage when watching that game because cover 2 high safeties, whatever they were doing was not working against the Cowboys.
Well, you're absolutely wrong, and here's why. Dak Prescott was elite on Sunday. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, elite. 25 completions on 32 passes, had multiple drops, 3 dropped balls. He could conceivably be over 450 yards if his receivers caught those balls. But he was putting it right on his receivers in stride. You're acting like it was just thrown out in front. The receivers were making
against receivers that weren't covered.
And you can't deny he had 2 or 3 good throws into coverage where he just slipped it right in.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Keyword 2 or 3 there. But there was like one of the I don't remember.
I'll continue to make
2 or 3 touchdowns right up the middle where no one's covering it.
That's how they're not covering it. They're just running behind elite receivers like Amari Cooper. But back to my point, Ezekiel Elliott was barely active, had like 13 carries, sub 60-yard game. If their offense can be this good without Zeke in it, imagine how good they're going to be when Zeke comes back to full capacity.
Well, to be fair, even though I think the Giants have bottom 3 passing defense in the league. Their run defense is actually so good, but that is not going to matter when their passing defense is that bad.
Yeah, having no pass coverage is how you get beat by Miami in December. That's how Fitzmagic drops 400 yards on you.
And something also, Tony Pollard, who everyone was saying, "Oh, the Cowboys will be fine." He averaged 1 yard a carry. So that, that seems like there's some propaganda going out there.
I think there was propaganda. Well, I think someone
I don't
on
think
this
Tony
podcast
Pollard was the
is putting
answer.
out propaganda themselves about the New York Giants and unrealistic expectations.
Hey. Well, while I was wrong about the defense and the pass coverage, I think the Giants' offense actually produced, and I was pleased with what I saw. And I know that you're going to say, "Oh, only 10 points until garbage time," but the refs had 2 horrible calls, picking up a 12-man penalty super late that would have put them inside the Cowboys' 30 with a first down, and then you also have the when Eli got sacked and fumbled. And the corner tackled the receiver before Eli was sacked and fumbled. And they said that wasn't a penalty. On the broadcast, they also went over how even if – I don't remember. Do you remember what the exact call for the penalty
I don't,
was? The name
but
of
I'm
it?
going to be honest with you.
Let me finish my thought. But I think that they even said on broadcast should have been a penalty. And they lost those 2 drives. And I think they would have wound up with points on both those drives. And I'm not arguing right now that the Giants would have won because I don't think they would have, but I'm arguing that the offense actually moved the ball. Every single drive they moved the ball. At the end of the half, they almost got into field goal territory with I think they had less than a minute on the clock on that drive, and I think only 1 or 2 timeouts. So there wasn't a point in the game where they weren't able to move the ball. It was just simply the defense's lack of stopping the Cowboys that forced them to go in on fourth down, and just the Cowboys scoring that many points against that shitty defense put the offense in a tough decisions they had to make with certain play calls and down and distance.
Well, the problem with that, and we're going to close on this because we've got other games to talk about than the Giants-Cowboys, is that the Giants moved the ball very well from the opponents, or from their 20 to the opponent's 40-yard line. They were elite, maybe best in the league, and moving it from kickoff to just outside field goal range, but they had drive stall out. I know you harped on that one penalty, which I'll admit probably should have been a penalty in the red zone with a pass interference, or I don't even know what to classify that as, but they were still inept in the red zone and kind of inept on their side of the field. I just don't see how you think that was a good offense. He got yards, but he didn't get any scores.
They were never inept at any point in the game. Like, they drove the ball down the field every time. Basically, they got 2 drives taken away, which would have wound up in a touchdown or a field goal. Okay, let's say they don't even score 2 touchdowns. That is 6 on to the 17 points. That's a 23-point game. But they barely had the ball because of how long the Cowboys had the ball on each of their drives. So, like, my point is the defense was so bad, the offense didn't have enough opportunities. But in those opportunities, they moved the ball well enough. So
I disagree.
That's my closing thought on that.
I don't think the Giants had much of an offense. Again, 10 points outside of garbage time. I know he said it already. But, hey, look on the bright side. Daniel Jones was 3 for 4.
With a fumble. All right. So
moving on to the Colts.
Thriller.
Okay, you go.
You won't. All right. You got it, or I got it.
You got it. I'll enter the next one.
The thriller with that went down at Colts Chargers 24-30 overtime game. Of course, the expected outcome was the Chargers to come out top, especially with Andrew Luck suffering
an unfortunate retirement.
An unfortunate retirement. And my takeaway from the Chargers side of the game is that they don't need Melvin Gordon back. Eckler was phenomenal out of the backfield. On 12 attempts, he had 58 yards rushing for 1 TD, and he had 6 catches for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if I'm Melvin Gordon right now, I'm taking whatever money the Chargers were going to give me because I don't need to see him getting that type of
money from any other team.
High-end money from any other team. And my takeaway from the Colts side is, Isaiah, you really need to figure out who Marlon Mack is. I mentioned it in our predictions video that he was going to go off this year, and he had 25 carries for 174 yards and a touchdown. He's leading the league as of week 1 for rushing. And I think Jacoby Brissett had a very good game.
He's also tied in the league for losses, but
Jacoby Brissett had a very good game. A bunch of pressure was taken off of him because of how well Marlon Mack ran the ball. And the key to success for the Colts this season lies in Jacoby, Marlon Mack, and T.Y. just being T.Y.
Here's the thing. I'll start with your slander against me on the Marlon Mack thing. Half the league didn't know who Marlon Mack was.
They knew who Marlon Mack was.
Marlon Mack went off. It's a James Conner-esque situation for both him and Eckler. No one's got film on him in substantial qualities, so you don't really know what to expect. Your game plan around the pass game and T.Y. Hilton and Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen, and suddenly there's this guy who's got 150 yards out of nowhere on you.
He had over 900 yards rushing last year. How's that out of nowhere?
Yes, but if I told you that the Colts were going to rely heavily on Marlon Mack to carry their offense this time a week ago, what would you say?
I wouldn't have been surprised. I'm the one who said in the first video that he was going to go off this year.
Lies and libel.
We consult the replay.
We are not going to consult the replay. Jacoby Brissett, NC State product, looked good, although they felt like they were keeping the ball away from him. Only 27 pass attempts, 109 yards. Got T.Y. Hilton for 2 big ones, but I'm still excited about him. He looks good. The inability of them, though, to have faith in him and pass the ball in overtime is why they lost the game. And as for the Chargers, Melvin Gordon's having a bad week because a guy named Austin Eckler, who for the life of me I thought was white upon reading his name, went off. Seriously, if there are every Austin Eckler in the country, there may be 3 of them, and I guarantee you, 2 of them are white and living in Tennessee, and the other one's on the Chargers. Austin Eckler is a weird name.
I wonder what the origins of Eckler is, or maybe they just made it up.
Maybe they just made it up. Maybe it's not his real name. But all in all, Colts didn't look as bad as they could have, considering their QB suddenly retiring. Chargers looked very chargery. And we are going to move on to talk about the Lions-Cardinals tie. You know it's going to be a good NFL year for you when your team opens up with a tie week 1. The Lions have avoided another 0-16 campaign, though, so hey, looking on the bright side. Got that out of the way. Cardinals, Kyler Murray looked like an absolute monster come the second half. Easily the best rookie quarterback performance to open the league out of anyone seen, although we haven't really seen that much of anyone else.
This year?
This year, yes.
Okay. I was about to say. I was like, ever? Okay.
No, but he was the best of what we've seen so far this year.
Obviously, yeah.
Guy from Jacksonville's name is really funny, which I can't remember. Had a really good day. But Murray looked good. He's going with that college-style playbook. Who knew David Johnson could be an elite running back if you're not running halfback blast at the middle 15 times a game? That's crazy. Larry Legend looked rejuvenated. And all in all, I really question
Gardner Minshew.
I really question Matt Patricia deciding, hey, we're going to run the clock and throw checkdowns for the entire second half. Incredibly questionable coaching decision. Stuff like this is what gets you fired.
I mean, exactly. With the Lions, they showed exactly what I thought they were. They were a decent team, or I don't even know if you'd say decent. They're an okay team for me that is going to struggle to beat, air quotes, the bad teams. They had the Cardinals the whole entire game and just literally threw it away. They threw the game away. Kyler Murray made some big plays with the touchdown pass to David Johnson, rolling out, getting a few passes
getting it to
off.
Larry Fitzgerald to tie it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the loss or the tie lies in the Lions.
Should be a loss for both teams.
Almost more so than it lies in Kyler Murray's comeback effort, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have on the Lions side of the ball, first-round pick T.J. Hawkinson, who had 6 catches for 131 yards and a touchdown. That's a crazy rookie tight end performance because most rookie tight ends are actually not very good in their first year. Tony Gonzalez was awful in his first year. Bet most receiving yards ever for a tight end. Like if you go back and look at almost every tight end in the Hall of Fame, they probably didn't have that great.
I'm going to be honest with you. Tight ends don't really matter. It's why there aren't like 10 in the Hall of Fame. But very nice.
I know, but they also usually have a bad rookie.
It's probably season. All downhill from here, let's be honest. But my final thing with the Lions, I didn't know Danny Amendola was even still in the league. I know the Patriots got rid of him when they signed him for the Dolphins. Apparently, Patricia, though, is trying to recreate the New England Patriots.
I mean, Danny Amendola did ball, too.
A little bit surprising. Thought he was retired. But good for him. Good for Danny Amendola.
Good for good old Danny.
American success story, to be sure.
So now we're switching over to another blowout that occurred this past weekend. The Patriots slaughtered the Steelers 33-3 in Foxborough. It was a home game for the Patriots. And I quite honestly was shocked by this game. I expected the Steelers to be one of the best teams in the league this year, even better than the Patriots or just as good as them. I thought Juju and James Conner would be studs this year, hard for any team to stop, and none of this was shown in week 1. I think that at this point, the Steelers are going to struggle to make the playoffs, and they need to take a long, hard look at their week 1 performance.
You know, you'd think after all these years, Mike Tomlin would realize, hey, maybe we shouldn't run zone defense into the greatest quarterback ever. Let's try running man. But no, we still get to see zone defense, and Brady still picks that apart like he has been for the last 20 years or so. It's crazy to me that they had the freedom offensively they did. In regards to what you said about Juju, I didn't think he had a horrible game. Had 78 yards with debatably the best cornerback in the NFL, Stephon Gilmore, and Bill Belichick scheming around him. Not a terrible performance. Big Ben looks like he's going to shed some tears in the Week 8 press conference and retire with how horrible he played.
He was so bad.
But I'm beginning to think I undershot the Patriots, and they are going to go 15-1, 14-2, something like that, with how good they looked. You look like a fool by saying they were going to be 11-5 in the 4 seed.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not feeling too great about that prediction either.
I wouldn't be feeling too good about many of your predictions if I was you.
But on the Patriots side, I think the rest of the league should be worried about the Patriots. The only disappointing factor or point to take away from this game was Sony Michel's performance. He had 15 attempts for only 14 yards. He's coming off of a very good rookie season. So that's a little concerning, but every other part of their offense was a lot to get excited about, with James White, Rex Burkhead, Philip Dorsett, Josh Gordon, Edelman, of course. All of them produced well.
Also, since we feel like
Tom Brady also all the time.
Block the kick, if you want to critique Sonny Michel. But whatever. You're going to have those games. I don't think it really affected them that much. But finally, lead us into our final game of the week, co-host.
Final game happened on Monday. I am the host,
co-host,
by the way. We had the Saints versus Texans. First time ever that there are 2 lead changes in the last minute, I believe. Saints pulled off the win, 30-28. Drew Brees had 370 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson had 268 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 40 yards rushing in a touchdown. So it was a quarterback showdown, to be sure. And I think this game showed how good both teams are. The Saints, like I said, are on the revenge tour. The Saints showed that they have the ability to be champions this year, with their pulling that out in the fourth quarter. And I think Watson showed that he's still very good. And my man Fuller, he made a ridiculous catch over Eli Apple.
Are you just bitter about Eli Apple because of his stint in the Giants?
No, I'm just pointing out, because I said Will Fuller could be a Pro Bowler this year.
Yeah,
so
69 yards off to a blazing start. But if you're Deshaun Watson, you're feeling some type of way. You drive down the field, 2 plays. Bang! Bang! Score, take the lead. Final seconds, you think, okay, we got this one iced up. This is an easy win. And suddenly, here comes Drew Brees right back at you down the field, and they kick a field goal to win it. The Texans, for once, have a bad defense, and it's a little bit concerning. Could be just Drew Brees exposing them because he's an all-time great quarterback, but they did not look good at all defensively. Even J.J. Watt, who some think is the best defensive player still in the league, was very quiet. Very quiet. Definitely missing Kalani.
I don't think many people think he's the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah, some people still do. Injury.
Is he coming off an injury, or is that last year he's coming off an injury?
Coming off an injury, it feels like.
That's true.
But good for Drew Brees, good for Kamara, good for the boys. Michael Thomas is happy with his new contract, $123.
With the Texans also, the Texans just traded for a new left tackle, and they gave up 6 sacks.
Yep.
Thankfully. So if you have one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league and you're still giving up 6 sacks, that's something to be very concerned about. I will say this.
We don't know how many of those sacks came from Tunsil. We're not that good at researching. But we don't know if that's a bad move yet or not.
Well, I'm not blaming it on the move. I'm just saying you just got a brand new left tackle, and even if he played perfect, they gave up 6 sacks.
Very shameful, very shameful.
So, yeah, it's a bit concerning.
But I think the Saints should be a little bit down because they only beat them by 2 points in their own home field. I think the Texans should be optimistic because they went on the road and played the Saints tight. And that has been our game coverage of the week. Highly detailed, a lot of research. This has been Thicc Man Inc., episode 14.
Like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys tuning into the video. Again, comment down below what you think. Appreciate all you guys for watching.